Okay, in this session we're going to cover item docs. Now, the quick quote system allows you to attach documents like spec sheets and manuals and pictures and things like that to different items, so you can use those later when you're doing your quote. And or you can take some of that information and you can create packets of documentation for your customers. If you look at this example quote, you'll see that many of these items actually have documents attached to them here on the item docs folder. So this Extron device has both a spec sheet and a user manual on it. You notice the spec sheet shows up down there. But some of these things don't. Like for instance, this 23500 HDMI splitter does not. This COVID device doesn't. This COVID device doesn't. So let's look at this device, and let's say that we wanted to actually add a spec sheet to it. So I'm going to go look at my item docs here, and under my item docs, I'm going to hit reload real quick. That way it'll search in my scan folder. And I've created a picture that has the specs for this particular item from COVID. It wants to open it. It's a picture. This is what the spec sheet looks like from the COVID website. And what I'm going to do now is say that this is a spec sheet off to the right. So you notice it loads the document type as document. The description is a spec sheet. This is the item that it's going to copy, which is the item from the quick quote row. And then I hit load image, and now that image is part of this. And when I go to my item docs and I select that item again, you'll see that it now has a spec sheet tied to it, which is that image that we popped in there. So I also, when I look at my item docs, I did load a picture for this. Let's see what my picture, here we go. There's the picture that I loaded for it. So there's that. Ooh, nice picture. So this is a picture, so I'm going to click on the picture button, which gives me image and picture for my document type and document description. I'm going to hit load image. Now when I go to that item, I've got both the spec sheet and I've got a picture of that item. So you see that I've added a little bit to this quote, and it took like almost no time at all, just a quick search over to the web sheet of the web page of the manufacturer. So you can see several of these items already have spec sheets on them. So let's say that I'm at a point where a customer's asking me for some documentation on this quote, and I don't want to go out to the web and download a bunch of stuff or pull a bunch of things from one of the public drives. So what I can do is I can go to this grab docs box down here. What that does is it brings up this little form which allows me to load items from the quote. So it's going to load all the items that that could have spec sheets or manuals on it. So it skips things like install and materials and shipping. I'm going to hit select all, and I'm going to say check for spec sheets. And what it's going to do is it's going to highlight in green those that I do have spec sheets on, and it's going to put in red those that I don't. So if I've got a spec sheet on file for those particular ones in green, what I can do, and you can do the same thing for manuals, what I can do is click copy spec sheets, and what it tells me is I've copied 5 items. There are 4 items that weren't there, which are those 4 red ones that you see, and 0 files have been skipped. Now skip a file that maybe you've ran this twice and you've already got a couple of files that you've copied. It'll go ahead and skip those the second time around. So I copied 5, there were 4 that weren't there, it didn't skip any. So now they copy those files for me, and you're probably wondering where those files get copied. So we're going to go to our My Docs folder, and you notice that right now this is the quote number CA20145-295. It went in and it created in my Docs directory, which if you're on the terminal server, it'll create it on your My Documents on the terminal server that you're on. Under the quote number, under this was spec sheet, so it was under a folder called spec sheet. You notice all those items are in there, so it made all those copied right into there with about 3 button clicks, and you can now copy this entire folder over to, you know, a CD or to a USB drive, or just highlight them all, copy and email them to the customer if that's how you want to do that delivery. So that shows you how simple it is to add and utilize and manage your documents for items in Quick Quote. Thank you.